Behind the blinding lights of the world stage lies a story that never stops fascinating people everywhere. The story of 7 young men from South Korea whose name has become a cultural earthquake, BTS. From the Grammy stage to sold-out stadiums across the United States, their rise has been nothing short of spectacular. But beyond their music, beyond their flawless choreography and inspiring lyrics, there is always one simple yet strangely complicated question that people keep asking. Who is the most handsome BTS member according to Americans? At first glance, the question sounds lighthearted, maybe even trivial, but the truth is far deeper than it seems. Because beauty, charm, and charisma are never universal. They are filtered through culture, history, and personal taste, and the way Korea defines handsome is often not the same as how America sees it. In Korea, clear skin, delicate features, symmetry, and soft expressions are praised as the ultimate standard, while in the US, rugged lines, raw masculinity, or a touch of rebellious aura often win hearts more easily. This is where it gets fascinating because BTS is like a mirror with 7 different reflections, each face carrying its own story, each aura showing a different side of what the world calls attractive. Imagine this: 7 men whose faces appear on giant billboards, on magazine covers, on the front rows of award shows, suddenly ranked by foreign audiences who may see them with a very different lens. The results are surprising, sometimes even ironic. Some members, worshipped as flawless visuals in Asia, find themselves lower than expected in American polls, while others, who might not always take the spotlight at home, suddenly rise higher because their aura resonates with Western tastes. That is the beauty of it. That is the twist that makes this journey more than just a ranking. Tonight, we are going to walk through that journey together, not just to list numbers, but to explore what lies behind them, to understand how each member's stage presence, public persona, and personal story blend into a unique charm that people interpret differently around the globe. This is not just about who is more handsome. This is about how culture, perception, and emotion collide when looking at the same faces. And so, the countdown begins, starting with the name that everyone knows, the man long called worldwide handsome, a face praised for its perfect balance. Yet in the eyes of Americans, his place is not as high as many would expect. Who is he? Let's begin. Number 7. Jin, the worldwide handsome paradox. When you think of BTS and the idea of the visual, one name always comes first to mind: Jin, the eldest member, the man who has proudly and playfully carried the title Worldwide Handsome ever since their debut years. His face has often been described as almost sculptural, a study in perfect symmetry, the kind of proportions that beauty experts and even scientific facial mapping software have highlighted as textbook examples of balance. His strong yet soft jawline, his straight nose, his evenly spaced eyes, and the natural brightness of his skin combine to create an image that, in Korea, has long been considered the pinnacle of male attractiveness. In Seoul, people have said Jin looks like he walked straight out of a webtoon or descended from the heavens of K-drama royalty. His presence in group photos often gives that instant classic visual aura, the kind of look that makes cameras linger a second longer without even realizing it. But here's where the paradox begins. In surveys and polls conducted among American audiences, Jin doesn't land at the top. In fact, he comes in at number 7. How could the man who proudly wears the crown of worldwide handsome find himself at the very bottom of a list shaped by American opinion? The answer, as many cultural commentators have explained, lies in the shifting standards of beauty across different societies. In East Asia, the idea of handsome often leans toward features that are soft, refined, and harmonious, faces that look almost royal or untouchable. In contrast, many Americans associate male attractiveness with ruggedness, with strong angles, with something less polished and more raw. It's not that Jin is not admired, he is undeniably striking, but in American pop culture terms, his aura is sometimes seen as too princely, too clean-cut, almost like a painting that is so flawless it feels distant. Still, even with that perception, Jin has had countless moments on American soil where his charm completely stole the spotlight. At the 2020 Grammy Awards, for example, dressed in a sleek black tuxedo, his presence lit up the red carpet in a way that made journalists describe him as the classic gentleman of BTS. His polite bows, his steady eye contact, and that small, mischievous smile he flashes at cameras have given him a reputation as both elegant and approachable. When BTS performed on major American talk shows, James Corden, Jimmy Fallon, and Saturday Night Live, audiences on social media often called him the one with movie star vibes, comparing him to classic Hollywood actors from the golden era. These are moments that show that while Jin might not align perfectly with American beauty ideals, he still captivates in his own way, leaving impressions that last. Beyond the surface, Jin's personality adds another layer to his paradoxical ranking. Fans in America have often noted that his humor is one of his most attractive features. He's the member who cracks jokes to ease the tension, who isn't afraid to make silly faces or declare with a grin, "Worldwide handsome," at random intervals. This self-awareness, the ability to laugh at his own reputation, makes him more relatable. He turns what could have been an intimidating perfection into something lighthearted, something human. In interviews, you can see American hosts and audiences alike charmed not just by his face, but by the warmth behind it. They laugh with him, not at him, and that simple connection often sticks longer than the flash of a perfect jawline. And yet, despite all of this, he lands in 7th place. Why? Because when Americans were asked to rank based on sheer physical appeal, some were more drawn to features they considered masculine in a different sense: brooding stares, sharp cheekbones, or even the aura of unpredictability. Jin's image, though undeniably beautiful, is consistent, reliable, princely. He is the timeless gentleman, not the rebellious heartthrob. And in a culture that often prizes the edge of mystery, that can mean slipping a little lower on the scale. But if you think ranking defines him, think again. Jin's role in BTS, his presence on the world stage, and his influence on global audiences show that beauty isn't just about fitting one culture's standard. It's about resonance, about what sticks with you long after the concert ends or the camera flashes fade. For some Americans, maybe Jin is number 7, but for countless others, he is unforgettable, the member who embodies elegance and warmth in equal measure. And perhaps that's the real paradox, being so perfect that perfection itself becomes polarizing. Because if Worldwide Handsome himself is placed 7th, the question now becomes, what kind of charm could possibly push 6 other members above him? And that, right there, is where the suspense begins. Number 6. J-Hope, the sunshine with an edge. If Jin represents the polished elegance of a classic gentleman, then J-Hope is his dazzling counterpart, a burst of color and light that immediately shifts the atmosphere the moment he steps into a room. Known among fans as the sunshine of BTS, J-Hope has a reputation for radiating positivity so naturally that it feels like the world itself brightens whenever he smiles. His personality alone could make him magnetic, but when it comes to American audiences, what often places him at number 6 in surveys is the unique balance between his bright charm and his undeniable stage presence, a duality that Americans find both refreshing and intriguing. Unlike Jin's princely aura or other members' brooding charisma, J-Hope's handsomeness comes alive in motion, and the way his features light up during performances, in the sharp lines of his dance moves, and in the confidence that exudes from every step. Americans have a long history of being captivated by performers who can blend talent and personality seamlessly, and J-Hope embodies this tradition in a modern K-pop form. He isn't just a dancer, he's a storyteller through movement, and in the United States, where performance often defines attractiveness as much as physical looks, this gives him a distinctive appeal that sets him apart. In interviews, especially those conducted with major American outlets like Billboard and MTV, audiences have pointed out how J-Hope carries himself with a kind of effortless coolness that feels approachable yet aspirational.
His fashion sense, often a mix of bold streetwear and high-end designer pieces, also resonates deeply with American fashion culture that celebrates individuality. J-Hope doesn't dress to blend in, he dresses to express, and that expression is part of what makes him visually striking to audiences unfamiliar with K-pop's sometimes uniform styling. Americans appreciate that spark of rebellion, that sense of "I am who I am" confidence, and it shows whenever J-Hope walks into public appearances like the American Music Awards or the Grammy red carpet. His poses aren't stiff, they're alive, playful, and charismatic, drawing attention not just to his clothes or his smile, but to the energy he radiates. On stage, J-Hope transforms even further. American fans have often said that while his offstage personality feels bright and soft, his performance persona carries an intensity that is surprisingly magnetic. His jawline becomes sharper under stage lights, his movements more angular and powerful, and his gaze locked in with the audience in a way that makes people forget about anyone else around him. This duality, soft sunshine off stage, fiery powerhouse on stage, is something Americans find deeply attractive, echoing the archetype of entertainers who can be charming in interviews, yet absolutely commanding when performing. And perhaps that's why he doesn't rank lower despite not being the group's designated visual, because Americans don't just see J-Hope, they experience him. His reputation as a dancer also contributes heavily to his appeal. In American culture, where hip-hop, street dance, and performance artistry have always been tightly woven into the concept of cool, J-Hope's ability to masterfully blend K-pop choreography with hip-hop freestyle roots makes him stand out. Videos of him dancing, whether on stage or during casual live streams, often go viral among American audiences not even deeply into K-pop. They call him the one with the moves, but over time that recognition shifts into admiration for his facial expressions, his glowing smile, and his confidence, all of which are inseparable from how handsome he is perceived. Yet for all this recognition, he remains number 6. The explanation once again ties back to cultural nuances. Americans often lean toward darker, broodier visuals when ranking handsomeness, the kind of faces that suggest mystery or intensity rather than joy. J-Hope, with his sunny energy, can sometimes be seen as more cute than conventionally hot in the American sense of the word. But that distinction doesn't diminish his place. Instead, it makes his appeal unique. He is not the heartthrob who broods in silence. He's the one who lights up the crowd, who makes everyone feel part of something bigger, who turns a concert into a communal moment of joy. And in a culture that often values individuality, that quality of being unmistakably himself is exactly what makes him unforgettable. So while J-Hope may not crack the very top of American rankings, his placement at number 6 feels less like a limitation and more like a reflection of his paradoxical charm. He is sunshine with an edge, a performer whose very existence challenges the idea that handsomeness has to be defined by brooding stares or flawless symmetry. For American fans, he is proof that beauty can shine in laughter, in movement, in energy, and in the way someone can make you feel alive simply by being present. And as the countdown continues, the question only grows louder. If J-Hope's radiant charisma holds 6th place, what kind of forces are waiting in the 5 positions above him?
Number 5. RM, the intellectual charmer. When it comes to the way Americans perceive handsomeness, there is always a fascinating intersection between physical appeal and personality, and no one embodies that intersection quite like RM, the leader of BTS. Standing tall at nearly 6 feet with broad shoulders and a commanding presence, RM immediately stands out in any lineup. But it's not just his physique or his sharp, sculpted features that capture attention. It's the aura of intelligence and authority that makes him magnetic to American audiences. In countless polls and fan discussions, Americans often emphasize how his deep voice, fluent English, and sharp wit add to his appeal. Because in the United States, charisma often counts as much as appearance, and RM has charisma in abundance. His handsomeness is layered. The clean-cut lines of his face, the expressive eyes that shift easily from intense focus on stage to warmth in interviews, the confident way he carries himself as a leader, and the quiet strength in his posture when standing beside his members. All of this blends into an image that resonates deeply with American audiences who are drawn to figures that exude both strength and intellect. His appearances on American television have only reinforced this impression, whether delivering a flawless speech at the United Nations or holding casual conversations with late-night hosts. RM embodies the archetype of the thoughtful leader, the kind of man whose attractiveness grows stronger the more you listen to him. For Americans who often value charisma rooted in individuality, RM's ability to articulate thoughts with eloquence and depth makes him irresistibly compelling. He isn't just seen as a performer, he's seen as a thinker, an artist, and a leader, which in the American imagination elevates his image far beyond surface-level beauty. On stage, however, another side of RM emerges, one that adds even more to his ranking. When the music starts and the lights shift, his intellectual aura is fused with raw physical energy. His rap delivery is sharp and commanding, his body language powerful, his expressions filled with intensity that makes him look almost like a different person compared to his calm, composed interview persona. This duality, the philosopher offstage and the fierce performer onstage, creates an irresistible charm that Americans frequently describe as the total package. They see not just a handsome man, but a leader who carries the weight of a global movement, someone who is both relatable and larger than life at the same time. Even his personal style feeds into this perception. RM often opts for fashion that is minimalist yet bold, mixing luxury streetwear with understated elegance. This sense of style resonates with American audiences, who often equate fashion confidence with attractiveness. His broad frame allows him to carry clothes in a way that feels naturally stylish, never forced, and his preference for neutral tones or statement accessories highlights his physical strengths without overpowering his personality. Beyond the stage and the spotlight, what cements RM's placement at number 5 is his relatability. He has spoken openly about his flaws, about his struggles with identity, about the weight of leadership and fame. These admissions resonate with Americans, who often admire vulnerability in public figures. To them, RM is not just handsome because of how he looks, he's handsome because of how he lives, how he speaks, and how he embraces imperfection while striving for growth. Yet despite all of this, he lands at number 5, a reminder that American preferences sometimes tilt toward edgier or more conventionally striking visuals. RM's appeal is often described as thinking man's handsome, a term reserved for those whose attractiveness deepens with time and context. This is not a weakness, it's a strength, because while some faces capture attention instantly and fade just as quickly, RM's image lingers, growing stronger the more you learn about him. And so, as the countdown continues, one question remains. If the eloquent, charismatic, and undeniably magnetic leader of BTS stands at number 5, then what extraordinary qualities must the remaining 4 members possess to rise even higher in the eyes of American audiences?
Number 4. Suga, the Quiet Storm. In the American perception of BTS, there is one member whose charm sneaks up on people, not by flooding them with constant energy or polished perfection, but by quietly taking root and then refusing to leave their minds. Suga. To many casual American viewers, he might not have been the one to catch their attention first, but over time, his quiet magnetism, sharp wit, and understated confidence have made him a fan favorite, pushing him to number 4 in attractiveness polls. Suga represents a different kind of handsome than what most people expect from a K-pop idol. He is not the loudest in interviews. He is not always in the spotlight with a wide smile. But when Americans look closer, they find an allure that is subtle, complex, and undeniably compelling. His pale complexion contrasted with dark hair, his almond-shaped eyes that often carry a hint of mystery, and the way his expressions shift from soft to piercing in a heartbeat, create an image that resonates with Western audiences who are drawn to artists with a bit of edge. In American pop culture, the archetype of the quiet rebel has always been romanticized, from James Dean to Johnny Depp in his early years, and Suga fits right into that lineage in his own modern way. Part of Suga's appeal in America lies in his stage persona. When he performs, he transforms completely. The calm, almost reserved man off stage becomes a force of fire and intensity on stage. His rap delivery, sharp and unapologetic, combined with his piercing gaze, gives him a presence that commands attention even in stadiums filled with tens of thousands of fans. Americans often describe him as the one with the fire, not just because of his skill, but because of the way he embodies his lyrics with every muscle, every breath. His stage aura has been compared to iconic American rappers who carry themselves with authenticity and raw emotion, and that comparison resonates with audiences who value honesty and performance above all else. This authenticity is key to his ranking. Americans see him as someone who doesn't perform a character, but rather reveals who he truly is through his art. But beyond the stage, what deepens Suga's appeal is his candidness about his personal life and struggles. He has spoken openly about mental health, depression, and the pressures of fame. And in America, a society that increasingly values conversations around vulnerability and resilience, this openness has made him stand out as more than just a performer. His willingness to address difficult topics in both his solo work and interviews has earned him respect and admiration, transforming him from the mysterious member to the voice people trust. To many Americans, this honesty makes him even more attractive because it shows a depth that transcends appearance. His looks, combined with his raw honesty, create an image of a man who is both beautiful and real. Suga's fashion sense also plays into how Americans perceive him. Unlike some members who embrace bright colors or extravagant designs, Suga often opts for muted tones, clean lines, and understated elegance. This subtlety aligns with American tastes that associate minimalism with sophistication. Whether he's in a black leather jacket, oversized sweaters, or tailored coats, he carries himself with a quiet confidence that speaks louder than the flashiest outfits. Americans often equate this kind of style with timeless attractiveness, the type that doesn't scream for attention but effortlessly commands it. Of course, his place at number 4 also reflects cultural nuances. In American culture, attractiveness is often linked to personality archetypes, and Suga fits into the mysterious yet vulnerable artist mold that has long captivated audiences. His quiet nature, combined with moments of surprising humor and warmth, create a dynamic that Americans find irresistible. He may not always be the loudest voice in a group interview, but when he does speak, people listen. That ability to capture attention with just a few words or a single glance adds to his allure in ways that constant energy cannot. And so, Suga finds himself ranked above others not because he conforms to traditional beauty ideals, but because he embodies something that feels authentic, relatable, and emotionally powerful. He is the quiet storm, the man who doesn't need to announce his presence, because his aura speaks for itself. For Americans, that mix of mystery, artistry, and honesty creates a kind of attractiveness that goes beyond surface-level definitions. But if the quiet storm himself holds fourth place, then who could possibly surpass that combination of subtle charisma and raw emotional depth? The answer lies ahead, and the countdown only grows more intense from here.
Number 3. Jimin, the enigmatic charmer. When Americans talk about Jimin, there is always a sense of fascination that goes beyond simply calling him handsome, because Jimin embodies the rare kind of attractiveness that is fluid, adaptable, and impossible to confine to a single definition. In Korea, he has long been admired for his delicate, almost ethereal features, his flawless skin, and the graceful way he carries himself. But in the eyes of American audiences, what makes Jimin stand out and claim the number 3 spot is the way he constantly shifts between softness and intensity, between innocence and seduction, between vulnerability and confidence, all within the same performance. His face tells stories without words, those sharp eyes that can melt into crescents when he smiles, the sculpted lips that have often been described as one of his most alluring features, and the way his expressions transform under the lights make him unforgettable on American stages.
For many Americans, Jimin is not just handsome in the conventional sense. He is captivating in the cinematic sense, like a character you can't stop watching even if you don't know why. On stage, his presence is electrifying. Jimin's dance background, rooted in contemporary and ballet, gives his movements a fluid elegance that stands out in the world of K-pop, and American audiences often describe him as the one who moves like water. His performances at American award shows, from the Billboard Music Awards to the American Music Awards, have been met with awe, not only for the precision of his moves, but for the emotion he pours into every step. That emotion radiates through his expressions, creating an aura that many Western fans equate with sensuality and depth. When Jimin dances, he doesn't just move to the rhythm, he embodies it. And in the American cultural lens where performance and persona intertwined with physical attractiveness, this has cemented him as one of the most captivating members of BTS. Yet it's not only on stage where Jimin shines. In interviews and casual moments, his duality becomes even more evident. He can be shy, soft-spoken, even bashful when complimented, which Americans often interpret as endearing. But then, in the very next moment, he can turn on a switch, flashing a confident gaze that feels almost intoxicating. This unpredictability is what American fans often cite as the root of his charm. He's not just one thing, he's many things at once, and that complexity makes him endlessly intriguing. His style also plays a role in his American appeal. Jimin has a natural affinity for fashion that emphasizes his body lines, whether it's sleek suits that highlight his lean frame or loose, flowing shirts that move with him on stage. In American fashion culture, this kind of stylistic fluidity resonates strongly, aligning him with trends that blur the boundaries between traditionally masculine and feminine aesthetics. Americans often celebrate figures who challenge rigid beauty norms, and Jimin, with his ability to embody both softness and strength, fits perfectly into that narrative. What makes his ranking even more remarkable is the emotional connection he builds with audiences. American fans often recall moments where Jimin's empathy and kindness shine through, whether it's his comforting gestures toward his members or his heartfelt words during concerts. This warmth adds another layer to his attractiveness. He's not only someone who looks striking under the spotlight, but also someone whose humanity feels genuine and comforting. For many, this emotional accessibility transforms admiration into devotion. Still, his placement at number 3 raises questions. If Jimin can embody such an intoxicating mix of grace, charisma, vulnerability, and sensuality, why doesn't he claim the very top? The answer lies once again in cultural preferences. Some American audiences lean more toward traditionally masculine, rugged features when defining ultimate handsomeness. And while Jimin's beauty is often described as angelic or ethereal, it doesn't always fit into that archetype. But this doesn't diminish his power. In fact, it highlights his uniqueness. Jimin doesn't just fit into beauty standards, he bends them, reshapes them, and makes people question why they were drawn to him in the first place. And so, as Jimin stands proudly at number 3, the countdown grows sharper. If this enigmatic charmer, with his ethereal beauty and magnetic duality, holds third place, then the anticipation only heightens. Who could possibly surpass him in the eyes of American fans? And what kind of presence must the next 2 members carry to claim those final spots?
Number 2. Jungkook, the Golden All-Rounder. In the American imagination, Jungkook is not just another K-pop star, he is the embodiment of the dream archetype. The kind of figure who seems to have it all, from youthful charm to athletic build, from natural talent to a charisma that lights up arenas. Known as the Golden Machine for his ability to excel at almost everything, Jungkook's rise in the United States has been nothing short of phenomenal, and it is this all-encompassing appeal that secures him the number 2 spot in attractiveness among BTS members. Americans are drawn to versatility, to figures who seem effortlessly good at whatever they attempt, and Jungkook fits this mold perfectly. His looks are often described as boyish yet mature, with large expressive eyes that shift from playful innocence to intense determination, a perfectly balanced face that photographs like a Hollywood star, and a physique that combines grace with strength. For American fans who grew up idolizing multi-talented entertainers, Jungkook represents the ultimate modern icon, someone who transcends boundaries of culture and language. On stage, Jungkook's performances have become legendary. His stamina, precision, and emotion create a package that American audiences equate with superstar quality. Whether he's delivering powerhouse vocals, executing complex dance routines, or flashing a charismatic smile into the camera, he commands attention in a way that feels almost instinctive. His solo performances in U.S. concerts, from Euphoria to My Time, have been particularly celebrated, with fans describing them as moments that feel intimate and grand at the same time, like a personal serenade in the middle of a stadium. In America, where the concept of the triple threat performer, someone who can sing, dance, and act, is revered, Jungkook embodies that ideal in a way that feels natural, not manufactured. Beyond the stage, Jungkook's personality adds another layer to his American appeal. He has a reputation for being shy and humble despite his immense talent, and Americans often find that kind of humility refreshing in a world where fame often breeds arrogance. At the same time, his mischievous streak, his playful interactions with fans, and his genuine curiosity about life make him relatable. He isn't presented as untouchable. Instead, he feels like someone who could be both a global superstar and the boy next door. And this duality fuels his status as one of the most beloved members among American fans. His fashion and body image also contribute heavily to how Americans perceive his attractiveness. Jungkook often embraces a casual, sporty style that highlights his athletic build, from oversized hoodies and ripped jeans to sleek streetwear that gives him a youthful, approachable aura. At the same time, when dressed in tailored suits for formal events, he exudes the sophistication of a Hollywood leading man. His tattoos, often visible during performances or casual appearances, have further amplified his appeal in the US, where body art is often seen as an expression of individuality and freedom. To many, his tattoos signal maturity, rebellion, and authenticity, all qualities that American audiences find compelling. Another factor that resonates deeply with Americans is Jungkook's dedication to self-improvement. His journey from the youngest member of BTS, shy and reserved, to a confident, commanding performer has been widely documented, and American fans often cite this growth as part of what makes him so inspiring. He embodies the narrative of hard work, resilience, and determination paying off, which aligns perfectly with the American cultural ideal of the self-made star. His fitness routines, his vocal training, his artistic experiments with photography and video editing, all of these pursuits showcase a man who never stops striving to become better. And that relentless drive is seen as incredibly attractive. Yet despite everything he has achieved, what cements Jungkook in the number 2 position is his ability to remain human in the eyes of fans. He shares moments of vulnerability, he admits to his struggles, and he shows sides of himself that aren't polished or perfected, whether it's through casual live streams or behind-the-scenes clips. This authenticity resonates with Americans who value transparency in their idols, turning admiration into devotion. And so, Jungkook stands at number 2, the golden all-rounder whose combination of youthful charm, undeniable talent, and genuine heart make him a force that American fans cannot ignore. He has the face of a movie star, the skill set of a world-class performer, and the spirit of someone who feels accessible despite his global fame. But if even Jungkook, the dream archetype, the ultimate all-rounder, can only hold the second spot, then the question becomes inevitable. Who could possibly surpass him, and what kind of presence must that number 1 carry to claim the crown?
Number 1. V, the ultimate vision.
In the American perception of BTS, one name consistently rises above the rest when the conversation shifts to sheer attractiveness, and that name is V. Known off stage as Kim Taehyung, he has a face that seems destined to be remembered. The kind of strikingly symmetrical, almost surreal beauty that draws comparisons to both modern fashion icons and classical sculptures. Americans often describe him as someone who could easily cross over into Hollywood without missing a beat, because his visuals are not just appealing in the K-pop sphere, but universally magnetic. His strong jawline, soulful eyes, and effortlessly expressive features make him stand out even among his bandmates, and his ranking at number 1 is not only about looks, but about the entire aura he projects. When V steps into the spotlight, he radiates a natural charisma that feels cinematic, a presence that feels just as suited for the runway or the silver screen as it does for the concert stage. His fan cams regularly go viral in the US, garnering millions of views, with fans and even casual viewers commenting on how he seems to command the camera with just a glance. Part of V's appeal in America lies in his duality, a theme that runs throughout his entire persona. On one hand, he can be playful, quirky, and even goofy, showing off his love for dad jokes, his odd but endearing hobbies, or his spontaneous laughter. On the other hand, he can transform instantly into an image of elegance and intensity, with piercing eyes and a deep, velvety voice that captivates stadiums. This unpredictability fascinates Americans, who are drawn to celebrities that feel multidimensional and dynamic. V represents the archetype of the star who is never just one thing. He is both the approachable friend and the untouchable icon, and this duality keeps fans intrigued. His fashion sense amplifies this magnetic appeal even further. V is often regarded as one of the most stylish members of BTS, with an eye for clothing that feels both timeless and daring. He moves seamlessly between vintage-inspired looks, high-end couture, and casual streetwear, embodying each style as though it were made for him alone. American magazines like Vogue and Elle have praised his sense of individuality, highlighting how he doesn't just wear clothes, but inhabits them, turning each look into a statement. In a culture where fashion is deeply tied to self-expression, V's fearless approach makes him resonate even more strongly with US audiences. His artistry also adds to his status as number 1. Americans have long valued singers whose voices carry both uniqueness and emotional weight, and V's deep baritone is exactly that. His solo performances, like Singularity, have been praised in US media for their haunting, almost theatrical quality, while his vocal tone adds a distinct flavor to BTS's group songs. Combined with his stage presence, his voice reinforces the idea that he is not just a pretty face, but a complete artist whose talents extend far beyond visuals. What makes his spot at number 1 even more secure is the cultural narrative he embodies in the eyes of Americans. V represents the total star, someone who has the looks, the voice, the style, the charisma, and the authenticity that define true global icons. Yet despite his ethereal beauty and commanding aura, he remains approachable in moments of vulnerability, whether through interactions with fans or glimpses of his genuine self off stage. That balance between untouchable icon and relatable human being is what truly elevates him above the rest. And so V takes the crown as the ultimate vision, the member who resonates most powerfully with American audiences, not just as a handsome man, but as a symbol of charisma, artistry, and authenticity. If the countdown is shown as anything, it's that each BTS member carries a unique charm, but in the eyes of America, V shines just a little brighter, standing as the face and soul that lingers long after the spotlight fades.